Hello, everyone. I'm in the Connemara. This is tape two. My battery goes from 1 bar to 3 bars. I wouldn't like it to stop functioning during the middle of a audio thingy, but today is the day after yesterday, which was today. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of May. 18th of May. All the shops and things, bars, restaurants, at least the terrace part, are opening tomorrow. We're not, because Flo's going away the 1st of June for a week and we don't want to open and close. And what's the news? Well, shall I give you some? I'm on my phone here in the Connemara with my coffee. Let's just, first of all, talk about the crypto story. And I've been saying to myself for the last few hours how I'm getting used to looking at the dropped prices. It doesn't seem to shock me, and yet when I think about it, the fact that Bitcoin is 43,000 euros is actually shocking. It's down from 65. I mean, it's lost a third of its wealth. 65 to 43. It's huge, and all the Bitcoin I bought over the last couple of weeks when the initial drop happened, well, that's all losing money for me now. And it's losing a lot because I bought it at 56, I bought it at 52, and it's like that's 10,000, 15,000 down. And I'm kind of wondering, is this? I mean, this is the way trends can go for weeks and months, and is it going to keep going down? I don't know. Got so used to Bitcoin kind of doing miraculous things, and I got so used to the Binance coin and Ethereum. Ethereum going from 2,000 and going up and up and up to 4,000. The Binance coin going from 440 up at 500 and going straight past 500 and into 600 and 680. Now Binance is just hanging on to 500. Ethereum is in the low 3,000, 3,300. ADA is hanging on to $2, and ADA is the only reason really that our portfolio is looking good still. Doge is hanging there. I've got 2,000 in Doge. Polkadot, well, one day it goes up to 45, and then the next day it drops down to 38. Litecoin, the same. It goes up to 300 and back to 280. All of them. No, none of them are making any decent progress, except the ones I don't have. This is always probably seems like this. There is Solero and Matic, Polygon, and they're both seem to be going up every day, but that's because I don't have them. And I have learned something, and I'm never going to forget it. I am never buying anything when I look at the graph, and the graph, like on this Polygon, in the last 24 hours, it's gone from 160 to $2. And the thing to do is forget about buying that, because it's not going to keep going up. It's just not. And it's the same with Solano. Solano, it's the same thing. In the last 24 hours, it's gone from 46 to 53. Now, it would have been great if you'd gotten in at the 43 mark, but forget about it. I'm not putting money on things that are going up, skyrocketing anymore. It has never worked out. I did that with Litecoin. I did it with Ethereum Classic, and I've just learnt my lesson. It's just, when they say buy the dip, they mean buy the thing when it's in the fucking red, when it's dropping. So yeah, I just wonder how long it's going to take. Now, I'm going to go into my Coinbase shares. This is going to be painful. And I have a long position, which is 87, which means that the price has gone up a little bit, and I can see it's now, a Coinbase share is worth 247. I bought for 399, but it had dropped down as low as 239. So bizarrely, it's kind of making a bit of a recovery today, up to 246. Still needs to go a hell of a way. It's making a bit of recovery, but of course, if Bitcoin drops, well, that's going to drop as well. So it's kind of depressing. Coffee. It's 4:30. I'm waiting for Flo to show up. We're going to go through some a list of things that we need to get. I'm looking forward to when we start up here, but I don't like the process of preparation for it. Because Flo's talking about changing signs and changing menus, and I don't mind changing the menus, but there's just these details I don't like changing the outside sign. But I know when we get some clients or we get people that want to take away, and I start using the crep again, and when we get back to working here properly, I'm gonna I think enjoy the new routine. You know, because honestly, it's a struggle to fill out the days, and it's getting to the longest days and everything, and it's going to make my life easier, I think. Someone's closing the shutter across from us. It's going to make my life easier when I have to get up at 10:30, get ready, get in here, have my coffee and pound chocolate, and then I go home for the afternoon, and I've got that time, you know, in the afternoon to walk Tuco and perhaps have a nap. And then I come back here in the evening, and this is the big change, this is the big positive, really. To get back in here for 7 o'clock, and even if we just stay till 9 because it's not busy, but just to get back home after 9, and then 10, 11, 12, 1, be on the computer, and it's going to just break up the day nicely, give me more things to do. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I can hear kids out the back. You know, the coffee I had was so good. I'm going to have another one. So, once again, you're going to hear the coffee process. Ah! That's me throwing the old bag, which was too hot, in the bin now. This is the new one. There we go. Do you want to hear the sound of the till? That's it.
It still sounds the same. It still sounds the same as before.
Okay. My stomach feels bloated. It really does. It feels like a drum. I don't know if that's the wrong kind of biscuits, too many biscuits. I've started for the first time to eat some Tic Tacs. Maybe that's not good, but at the moment, kind of feel not great, digestive wise. What else? I just had to throw out all our flour, all our cream. all the stuff that we froze, it's all out of date. I just got rid of everything. And tonight, I've got some ideas for Transport Fever. I've been dreaming of having a massive station in each of my two, well, I've got 4 towns, but let's say in 2 of them, a station with about 6 to 8 tracks and a way of delivering all the goods needed directly by train so that we don't need any lorries, so that even if the traffic starts to get congested, I'll be able to keep delivering the goods by train. So what I'd like is to have about 6 to 8 tracks running all the way from one town to the next. And then I've got 2 towns that are on islands because I'm playing on a tropical map. So I'd like to maybe take the opportunity, if I can, to use boats, but this time the big boats, and transfer some of the goods by ship. And then also at the end, maybe just to put down 2 big airports. I'm kind of curious to see if I can because you go to different levels, and I've only ever got to around level 16, I think, because normally I just concentrate on lorries and trains. Anyway, it really all depends on if I can design the proper map for this, because you've got to have the towns and the industries aligned in such a way that it makes it possible to pull this off. So that's an idea for tonight. And of course there's the chess. The chess. I'm ranked around 100, nearly 100, 1,160. Maybe it's 1,150 something. It was close to 60. I was saying what a game of opposites chess is. You know, I won a game last night and I started fist pumping the air. I was so delighted with myself because I was kind of all over the place and feeling that I was going to lose. And then I saw this opportunity. I kept pushing a pawn forward, and as kind of often happens, you get yourself into a good situation when you've got a pawn 1 square away from the back line, and the only thing between the pawn and the back line is the king, and if you can get a check on the king, and luckily for me I had the pawn protected by a long-range bishop, I was able to get this wonderful checkmate. I moved the king, got the pawn in, changed it to a queen, and I automatically had checkmate. And then in another move, again my opponent really had me all over the place and had his pieces in my half, but I managed to get my knight in a position where it was guarding the second square, the 1 second square that his king had left himself open, so that he wouldn't get the dreaded backline checkmate. But he didn't notice this knight move, and I was planning this out. I thought if I can just get that square so that I have it guarded, I have it attacked, then all I have to do is get my rook on the back line, on the back rank, and he'll have nowhere to go. And when I moved my knight, I really expected him to kind of notice, because if he'd noticed, it was very easy. He just had to move a pawn. There was a very easy way of getting out of this, but he didn't. And then I had to move my rook in position so that I could go to the back rank, and again I thought he's going to see this. But again he didn't. He moved a pawn, and that's such a nice feeling when you think, oh, I've got a checkmate coming and there's no way he can stop it. And then the exhilaration of winning is fantastic. But in the same way, my God, the feeling of losing is just horrible as well, to an equal, an opposite extent. when you're in a position like I was once, and I had my queen and I had both my knights in the other guy's half, and I'm starting to get all these checks, and it just seems like it's inevitable I'm going to get checkmate here. There's no way I cannot get checkmate. And I got check after check after check, and I could not get this guy in checkmate. And eventually he managed to get to a safe corner, and I just... or there was the other terrible match when I ended up losing in the end game because we both had queen and rook. Queen and rook, and he managed, because of my stupidity of moving the king the wrong way, to get his pawn in and get another queen and beat me. But when I look back on the game, I realized that there had been 2 occasions during this game that I had a chance to take his rook, which would have left me with a queen and a rook against the queen, and that really would have been a huge advantage. At one point I had a check, and then his king moved, and I could have had another check where I pinned his rook, and his king wasn't able to guard the rook. And as I was playing it, I didn't realize that I had that position, and I didn't do it. And then later on, I had an even better position. I had his queen pinned, his rook pinned, with my queen. And I'd made this pawn move attacking his rook, and his rook couldn't move. And his king moved, and so all I had to do was just take the rook with the pawn. And for some reason, I think it took my opponent so long to move that I'd forgotten I had the rook attacked with the pawn. And so when his king moved, I moved my queen into another check, eventually releasing the rook. I went on to lose that game. I really... it made me feel miserable. There's a great payoff in chess if you win, but the more kind of you win and the higher you get and the more matches you win, then the greater the opposite effect of losing is, especially if you don't, and it's not just me, I think it's everybody. You don't tend to lose one, you tend to lose like 3 in a row. But I'm addicted. I'm addicted to chess. And yeah. What else of the news? Palestine, Israel fighting. Shops and things opening up soon. The Indian variant, which we don't seem to hear much about anymore. It's funny the way news falls off the top. But India must still be a dreadful case, dreadful situations. But I want to get vaccinated. I think I'm in line to be vaccinated, and I want to get vaccinated before we go back to work. And I hope that now that a lot of people in England, France, Ireland are vaccinated, that things can get back to normal, and I'll be able to travel back to Ireland at some point. What else is there? I'm still doing these audio files, and which is kind of self-evident. I like them. I listen back to them sometimes when I can't sleep to just remind myself what I was doing, let's say this time last year, or what was going on in my head. It, like I said yesterday, I think it would have been very interesting if I'd been doing this back in 2005 and 6 when I was in the Lloyds, to see, because what was in my head then probably a lot different to now. I can see the battery's down to 1 bar. I love this little device. It's got top quality, and it's aesthetic, and it's very simple to use, although there are various elements to it I don't understand. You can delete on the device, and I just don't know how to do that. Anywho, how I If the battery goes, what's going to happen? Is it going to automatically save what's been recorded? I've got 20 minutes recorded. I guess it will. Philips. So yeah, it'll be nice to get back to the routine of the Connemara. Although I know Flo's not particularly looking forward to it. It's going to bring back a lot of her usual suspects. In a way, it would have been exciting to get rid of this place. If only there was some other job that I could do that wasn't going to stress me out. If there was some kind of aesthetically pleasing kind of job. Wouldn't really matter if it was quite boring. I've done those jobs before. I don't know, something that I could be earning some money. Flo would be happy. And we could get rid of the Connemara. And then if the cryptocurrencies would take off, because I've got a lot of Bitcoin now and none of it is making money, and if Bitcoin starts going up like my guys keep telling me it will, we could do really well because the ADA is doing very well. If I could get some more in Polkadot, maybe in some of those other blockchains, Polygon and Solana, and if we could get up to 200,000, let's say, and I've also got some little job that I'm doing and I like and I don't feel under any pressure, and if I don't like it I can leave, and it's, I'm kind of grown up about it, then maybe we could even consider getting a new place to live, buying it ourselves as an investment, and maybe we could pack up from Orizon altogether and go. I still don't like the idea of going to Ireland. It doesn't appeal to me right now. Maybe it will do in the future. Maybe if we go to Dublin and we're looking for a place, I'll fall in love with part of it. I don't know, but when I think of Ireland now, all I think about is those animals that populate the island, That's terrible. I should rephrase that. Of course, 99.9% of people, or most people in Ireland, are gentlemen and gentlewomen, and I would love nothing better than to talk with them. But there is the element of the fucking rabble, the traveling community, the guys that go around robbing everything. And then there's also the youth, a certain element of the youth that have no kind of morals anymore and are very dangerous. And maybe they've always been there. Maybe they just grow up. I don't know. But I just dread being in a city, either London or Dublin or wherever, where I'm going to come across that type of degenerate with their fucking ugly dogs. And I think between that and the weather and just the fact that as you go and try and get on a bus, or you need to walk to get something in the town in Dublin or whatever, or you're getting on a train, the fact that you may run into a group of these people all knocking back cans of Iron Brew kind of fills me with dread, I mean, you could well live in a place and never run into these people, but I think most people do. Unless you're driving in your fancy car from your house to work and back, and you go to the supermarket and you don't kind of maybe wander around the streets. Anyway, just to say that doesn't really appeal to me, but going and finding a lovely place that's 200,000 with 3 bedrooms and a nice place just outside of X, let's say, just on the suburbs in a lovely area, and it's a 50-minute walk to the center of X, but that suits me. Maybe the adventure of something like that for me and Flo, the adventure of starting up again like that, to try and just push yourself to get into a different chapter, because my God, we've been stuck in this Connemara Horizon chapter for long enough, I think. And I realize, although I'm kind of scared of the unknown, I've got absolutely no nostalgia at all, neither for the Connemara, and maybe there'll be a little more for where I'm living, but I'm not sure there'll be too much either for there. I really think a change would be nice, and X speaks to me. X really speaks to me. I'd like the chance to get to wander around X, on my walk. If I had to walk every time I'm off, instead of like now I just walk to the Connemara, it would be so cool to have a similar length of walk from my house to the center of X. But when you get there, you can stop off and you can start to get back into going out to places, you walk all the way, and instead of coming like now I come here, I can go to another place and sit down and have a coffee. I can get to see people. There might be some stuff going on. There's movies, there's theaters, maybe there's some, I don't know, even some learning French or something, anything, different things to do. I like this place here, but honestly, since we stopped doing our normal stuff in October and stopped completely in February, I hadn't missed this place at all. So yeah, 28 minutes. I'm going to go to 30, and then we shall call this one a day. We should call it a day. That doesn't make sense. We'll call it at that. We'll stop. We'll stop with that. There's also a kind of wonderful sense. Is it wonderful? Or is it terrifying? It's the sense when I think, it surprises me when I say to myself, you're 55. I catch myself off guard, because somehow sometimes I feel I'm still 50. You never left that. But I'm 55 and a half, soon to be 56. So you kind of think, well, nobody lives forever. I mean, you may have another 50 years in you, who knows? But don't you want to try different things? Even if the unknown is a bit scary, don't you want to just do different things? And somehow the passing of time and that awareness, well, this may go a little over 30 minutes now, that awareness of time passing can somehow take away the resistance. I think it's something like that worked, for instance, in my mother. The fact that she traveled so much over the last 10, 15 years, I think it's something to do with because she often said, it'll get to a point where I won't be able to travel anymore. I'll be too old, and that sense of the limitation, of the limit of time and stuff, it gives you the wings to go for these things. And I'm feeling a similar stir within me. I'm feeling that come on, it's your life. You kind of got one shot at this. You might as well throw the dice a few times and take a chance on certain things and see what happens, rather than stick in the safe but boring kind of situation you're in now, which makes me think, I hope I'm listening back to these audios in the future and those things have come to pass. I'm gratefully aware that we never know what's in the future. We hope it's good. It could be anything. But I always say, like a few months ago, I wouldn't have known what I was talking about in terms of cryptocurrencies. So it may well be that although now it seems impossible, I may be talking in the future about my new job. Who knows? I mean, who knows, honestly? I may be talking about my new job and how I like it and how I wish I'd done this before or whatever. Or maybe we'll be going through all the process of getting a property, and I'll have the money and we'll get this property going, and I'll be talking about that. I hope so. I sincerely hope that in a year or two, I'm not going to be walking up and down this fucking place talking the same as now. I genuinely hope that. I don't want to be walking up and down the Connemara in a year or two. Sorry, Connemara, but I don't. And I don't think you mind, because you're just a building. Yeah. I hope we'll have moved on at that point. I hope there'll be different things on this audio. I hope there'll be many things I'll be talking about, and first of all, I hope that there'll be good things, nothing bad, no unhealthy things, no sickness, nothing like that. I hope there'll be good things, but I hope there'll be things and I'll be saying to myself, wow, this is great, this is fantastic. You wouldn't have known this was going to happen back when you were doing that thing in 2021 on May the 18th. I want to hear myself talking about my new job, or I'm doing a new course, or I've managed to get myself together enough where I've organized something where we get people together to talk about young or something like that, or I'm doing something and we're somewhere else. And I'm saying I'm going now, I'm doing my walk, and now I'm walking past this and that and the other, and this is a new walk, and now I'm going to go to this cafe and blah, blah, blah. I want to hear new things. I've been hearing the same things for too long. So there you go. We ran a little over 30 minutes, but I shall say goodbye for now, because I'm pretty sure the battery's going to go any minute, and I wouldn't like to lose all this, so... Adios!